Both existed before we did, and so now dwell inherited within us all. For me, both have been long hidden, unrecognized, relentlessly processing all the while. A relationship toward a becoming, not required to be known, an undisclosed partnership within my existence, not required, but now known, now realized in conscious awareness. Me no longer in denial of their dialogue, they no longer secretive of their fears, each ready for equanimity in cooperation.
And of what both, what two, do I speak? 2 planets, 2 species, 2 molecules. What matters most is there are 2, and thus differentiated entities. These are not 2 extremes defining one middle way. These are 2 interacting with each other, each with extremes defining their respective middle ways. Both entities offer their most inspiring gifts when each is balanced within itself while balancing with the other. Their relationship is profound simplicity of ultimate purpose, the human expression of changing existence. Yet in their individual forms and processes, there is overwhelming complexity of detail. I speak without authority beyond the direct experience of my own inner and outer life. Yet that experience gratefully includes the influence of so many others willing to offer personal reflections on our common human quest. I hesitate to name the 2 of which I speak, lest by the naming they become objects, confined by a description, held prisoner in a dictionary, and limit for you their natural progression into what is nameless. I must, however, use descriptives simply for discussion, with full understanding of my subjectivity and speculation in doing so. I will name one the collector, the other the connector. The collector within me is the gatherer of signals, signals for sustaining the process of life itself, signals that always arrive in the moment of now. It receives signals from both outside and inside my human body as resources, perhaps packets of light and waves of sound, or packets of neurotransmitters and waves of emotions. Signals offer me information, either recognized as literal reality or rearranged into novel relationships of my imagination. The collector accepts ambiguity as prelude to an explicit outcome, speaks in a language of morphing images, provides metaphors for answers sought by my curiosity, uses rhythmic resonance to mark the time. Some sensory signals are vital to survive physical threats, alert my body when action is needed for safety. Other signals may float through an undiscovered portal from the universal, the limitless, float unidentified into my human experience to awaken my sense of divine mystery and remind me of my origin and return within the ongoing flow of the cosmic process. Perhaps the collector's deepest fear is loss of signals. No information from outer or inner surroundings, no way to determine threats, no validation of location or time, no creative process to promote, no novelty to pattern. Without signals, the collector would be without its purpose, to provide my humanness with the means to express life and the meaning of that expression. Out of fear, the collector may only permit signals from extreme positions and lose balance. It may become hypervigilant to the diversity of signals, unnecessarily inducing stress responses to reassure its power to protect life. Or it may relinquish its sensitivity to all inputs and shrink into the mistaken safety of meaninglessness. In contrast, the connector within me is the guardian of my conscious self. It oversees, guides, assists the self as it develops toward fullness. It maintains a basis set of anchored neuronal connections as its fundamental genetic template, connects and reconnects its structural refinement as the self evolves through expanding stages of awareness. The connector links past events through networks of time and place, accesses memories to relive in the present, projects patterns of plans into my future, provides a felt sense of coherence and a continuity of a me. The connector directs the self to communicate primarily through the language of spoken and written words, holding constancy of their meanings for constancy of comprehension by others. It assists the self to narrow its focus on tasks or thoughts needed to connect with the world outside my body. Perhaps the connector's deepest fear is loss of the self. No template to reshape, no recognizable pattern of continuity, no memories to guard, nothing to refine into its fullest potential. Without the self, the connector would be without its purpose, to direct my awareness toward its most embracing state of experience. Out of this fear, the connector may guide from extreme positions and lose balance. It may encourage the self to expand its power over others in arrogant behaviors. Or it may allow the self to cede its strengths altogether and wander as ill-defined as the air. For myself, I was unsettled in these reflections by a feeling or subdued belief that the collector and connector within me each feared the other. As if the collector could annihilate the guardianship of the self, and the connector could annihilate gathering of signals. If such fears between them were truly so, how could they ever be expected to cooperate with equanimity? How could a fully integrated human ever transcend from their partnership? At first I thought of natural bodily fears. Fear of loss of self as experienced by dementia. Fear of loss of signals as experienced by deafness with blindness. But I was startled, shaken to my very core, when I realized a deeper truth. I had been taught to have other fears. Fears embedded within me, not based on bodily evidence, but as imposed beliefs from a combination of identifiable sources within our culture. Messages such as, if scientist, no heart. If heart, no rationality. If authority, no kindness. If kind, no authority. These and many more dualisms were translated subconsciously, reinforced implicitly in multiple contexts as a secret assertion that the collector and connector need beware of each other. This shock aroused in my intense anger and intense sadness, which together marked the beginning of an inner healing. Initiated gently through forgiveness of inflicted ignorances and gratitude for this moment's liberation of truth. False fear that is taught to reside in others can be observed every day in families, classrooms, houses of worship, the media. And it must be courageously addressed at every occurrence if each human, and thus humanity, is to cooperate with creative relationships. I will not again allow such fears to separate my own inner collector and connector from their dynamic co-fulfillment. I will turn instead to the more important questions revealed when not burdened with fear rooted in deception. What is the natural internal relationship of these two entities within any human? A relationship that has advanced naturally for a purpose we may need to better understand very soon if we are to move forward in a global transition already past the edge of its beginning. For this relationship within each human must be healed if we are ever to heal the separation it may generate within every group of human participation, especially our common participation with Earth. And so I return to the relationship within myself between both. Those I name the collector and the connector. I expose the dialogue within myself for what it may offer to a wider dialogue necessary among ourselves. I can walk now through my outer physical environment with a broadened inner subjective experience as I do so. My collector gathers signals to bathe me in an inescapable sea of offerings for my absorption. These signals may literally touch me. A chill in the air, a pain in my foot, a bird singing, the sight of a brutal pet owner. And in so doing, speak of life, my life, all life. For through signals received, I am reassured, consciously or not, that I am a source of signals as well. For I am here, now, a living human among all that lives. My connector on this same walk may attend to guiding my conscious self through abstract thoughts, at times connecting parts of a solution to a problem, resolving a family dispute, reflecting on a global issue, talking words to itself in my mind as it does so. The identity of the self appears constant over short intervals, yet the connections that comprise it are continuously being changed one moment to the next, biochemically, neuropsychologically. I am a self over longer spans of time that is evolving, transforming, longing for my next level of awareness as it responds to life with my accumulation of experiences within it. I am a self that is my own mystery, while often disguised as my only certainty. Is it not the mutual interaction of the collector and connector, not one alone, but both, that allows for my most splendid human expression? Even in this very moment addressing you, my conscious self strives to localize information in definitive words and sentences to aid your understanding, while I simultaneously receive signals that awaken something far more encompassing and inexplicable, that senses everything here, including you, is intertwined. My collector and connector are right now in the process of their co-communication, and I am both source and witness to their interplay. They are finding their pathways of interactivity naturally, without competition, without fear, as if there is already an agreement between them to assist each other for a common greater purpose. My heart rejoices in the beauty of their conversation, of words and images, experience and innocence, rationality and heart. This is the beauty of full awareness, unfragmented knowing, that lifts me into the realm of wholeness, from which all meaningful questions are asked and all truthful answers await. Within that realm, I now ask, for what purpose am I compelled to speak of these reflections? And within that realm, I hear awaiting, you speak to offer possibilities arising from what has been long hidden, unrecognized, relentlessly processing a relationship toward a becoming.
Maybe we could go over by the rocks.
Ooh, a little scared. You're still recording. This is the funny
For
part.
posterity.